The art fair. The entourage of art fairs maximising this phenomena with large travelling global events, selective in who they let in to sell, commanding high prices for booth space and creating an upmarket TK Maxx style scramble, sometimes including appalling eye-watering lighting for those wealthy enough and eager enough to vie for a position in securing a trophy piece of art. With special viewing days and VIP areas, yet simultaneously deliberately excluding and creating a queue in order for the wealthy collector would-bes to achieve their acquisition. The dealers at fairs too can, and usually do, surround themselves in their booths with a sense of aura, and even if you have money, you may not necessarily gain access to buying the piece you want. The dealer chooses his valuable artwork's new home. You may, perhaps as an outsider or unquantifiable newbie, also be allowed to buy, but at an inflated price, only to find out, if you come to sell at auction, that you paid too much. Nice. And the last bastion of historical institutional credibility, the art museum. They too are drawn into this. Institutions historically seen as open to all. On average, each visitor costs them $50. Entrance fees are $15 to $20. They make a profit from donors, so they are courted by the board members, and hopefully any donors with additional agendas do not gain too much sway on what happens within the museum. Donors are extremely important. Donors can also have agendas. The board of a museum needs to be strong to keep a hold on the direction of the collection. As an example, the collector who bought Munch's Scream for an astronomical price, in the next few days it was on show in the Met. This is a huge status and philanthropic thing for the donor, but not necessarily the right work for the museum. Museums' other income options are blockbuster exhibitions. Similar scenario, not necessarily the right direction in choice of work on show. For example, there was a few years ago a spate of visitor participation art that almost had a theme park ride quality to it. For example, Karsten Holler's test site in the Turbine Hall, Tate. Sundays and Saturdays were full for the experience, but not necessarily for experiencing the art. A good art, bad art question, but it brought people in. This alters the vision and overall direction of the museum's collection, and so its art purchased and shown. The area of public art outside of the museum or gallery space also transcends into another space, corporate. This art can be sourced via companies that specialise in realising public and corporate art commissions. And so the artist's work, in liaison with, and sometimes alongside production of the artwork required, this can incorporate, adding to the artist's concept or ideas stemming from their practice, the architectural and standards required for installation, and the ongoing functional aspect of artwork used in public or corporate domains. Local and global commissions alike, the rarity of the artwork is usually one-off unique, and so the CV of artwork proven to be successful in these domains depends on the client, and so the client's reputation and influence. The bigger the project, the usually more influential and louder it shouts. And with the general media also focusing on the price of art as more interesting content than the work itself, and less shocking of course, this can add to the value of art as being seen purely by its price tag. It has been said that Damien had always had interest in how the art market underbelly worked and wanted to shine a light on that side of it. This while of course at the same time making his money. He made a lot of friends and enemies. In a quote by Sterling Ruby, he said of his work, "I really liked Damien when he first started exhibiting. He was making artwork that looked like work that had never been presented before. Over time, the subject matter kind of got replaced with the money." The same could be said of Jeff Koons. Interesting art, especially at the beginning, but increasingly about the money and commissions. His provenance skyrocketed, as did his celebrity status and his ever-expanding ability in pandering to it. In essence, post-60s through the 80s and into the new millennium, the art market grew into contemporary collecting, with ever more artists and art following the dollar, in turn crowding and clouding the ability to know what good art exists, where, and to be able to see it. Art, be it classical, modern or contemporary, all started to hinge on a somewhat cynical or glossed over, money-fueled world of the art market, and through the combinations laid out here, it became much more about these factors and less about the art. So the wider aspect when looking at local, continental and international art, especially from the point of contemporary art, and with contemporary many stemming from a European legacy of recognised art as opposed to older art, which is the stuff of old masters, in mainly European terms, or the traditional folksy art of pretty much the rest of the world. Contemporary art is, because of this relative newness and by default in a global market, already ratcheted up to the realms of international art, local or even the broader term continental art, if it is contemporary, has to reach this international level of acceptance or requirement, a benchmark.